Happy anniversary, everyone. I'm Radio Rave, a developer for FusionFall Retrobution, and May 31st of 2025 marks 4 years since we officially launched. Last year, we held our own birthday bash event and showed to the world that animated model imports were finally possible again for the first time since the original FusionFall Retro. This was a huge milestone for the team and for the tech we used to mod the game. That event was to celebrate us being up longer than the original Retro and to show our exciting plans for the future. Today, we want to do something similar. A lot has changed since that event. Internally, we've been trying to settle into a workflow for adding all sorts of new things to the game, and set up for the major content and mechanical additions that we want to do. Most of our updates last year, and for the first half of this year, were tied to events. If you didn't know, that was mainly because we wanted to have a set of events that we could cycle through every year with minimal effort, so that something is mostly guaranteed to be happening during certain seasonal periods. Our 2.0 update was the first look into some major mechanical changes to the game and how we want to polish the original game. We're happy to say that we're pretty satisfied with our rotation of events, and from now on, we want to be focusing on permanently additive content or changes. To start off, in our first teaser for this update, we referred to it as the Combat Update. To be clear, there will be combat changes coming in this update, but we won't be showing off any of them in this video. In fact, it's not even the update's real name. You may remember that the original game's first major mechanical additions update was called Dex Labs Upgrade 1 Speed and Style. Sadly, due to Grygon Entertainment going bankrupt, we never got Dex Labs Upgrade 2. Until now. Presenting Dex Labs Upgrade 2. We have our own subtitle, but to not give too much away, we won't be sharing it with you today. Dex Labs Upgrade 1 had 3 pillars: the addition of vehicles, the addition of crockpots, and the addition of Aegers. Dex Labs Upgrade 2 will have 4 pillars. The first is racing, as in racing rewards and some movement changes that'll come with it. The second pillar is a revamp to vehicles, and we'll be talking a bit about these first 2 pillars in their own segments later on in the video. The other 2 we won't be sharing with you today. Don't get us wrong though, these aren't the only things this update will have, and we'll be showcasing and going into depth about certain aspects starting right now. Our next segment is going to be a recap of the changes we've already revealed during St. Patrick's Day, with a little expansion on certain details. So, let's get that started.
Hey guys, Alfie here. As Radio said, I will be here for a quick moment to recap and expand on some previously shown new content with the coming update. Loading a bear now randomizes the texture between 5 different colors to give the world a touch of life. These textures are ones we were given permission to use from FusionFall Legacy. We are hoping that this lets the world feel like it's always moving, even without the player. These Legacy textures also included giving the base bear texture some eyes. Fun fact, this change is based on the same code that manages the Santa hat wearing fusion spawns during Nishmas. As shown in a teaser for this update, grenade projectiles will now match the one you have equipped. Nano Blue's texture is getting an update. This change is in preparation for an eventual update to Blue's NPC model that we'd like to do. You will get to see the new Nano Blue as well as all other nanos do their summon animation on the HUD with our animated nanocom feature enabled. Speaking of nanos, the Powerpuff Girl trio will be receiving unique faces on their nanos during certain animations, just like how they would have in FusionFall Legacy. We have previously only revealed Buttercup's, but we are super excited to showcase Bubbles' new faces as well. To top it all off, we are also adding back the much-loved sitting emotes. Sitting emotes were previously disabled due to a crash related to them. We are hoping re-enabling them will give us some more insight into properly fixing it. We are also adding animations to more quick chat phrases. If the quick chat phrase ends in a period, exclamation point, or a question mark, it will play a corresponding animation. There will also be a new tab added to the emotes list which allows you to access some brand new emotes. The last one on the list, Power Up, makes use of an OG FusionFall unused nano animation. A few select nanos don't have this animation yet. You may remember that we also showcased a brand new number 2 model, and we'll be going over that as well as some other NPC changes in a later section. Alright, my quick moment is up. Next up will be something truly exciting, and I hope y'all enjoy it.
Hi there, my name is Ninja. I'm here to brief you with the upcoming changes to player movement in Retrobution. FusionFall is an extremely interesting game. As one of the few MMORPG platformer hybrids out there, it's actually very easy to forget that FusionFall is actually a platformer. With this in mind, we have made many adjustments to the game that will not only make platforming feel more satisfying, but should help make the game feel more fast and precise. To begin, we have increased the base movement speed of the player character by about 200. This means that the player is now as fast as a player buffed by the run nano. This should help make the game feel faster overall and improve player experience, as you will spend less time alt-tabbed auto-running and more time actively playing the game and fighting Fuse's minions. To this change, we have adjusted the speeds of every other instance of player movement by about 200. This includes run nanos, gumball run nanos, and most of all, vehicles. The slowest vehicle in the game, the Zulingos Cloud, will now be a 900 class vehicle rather than a pitiful 700. You may recall back in Retro, during the Easter event, they had released an event vehicle called the Carrot Cruiser that was about 1500 class. Well, now you can expect every DX vehicle in the game to go that fast. Zoom-a zoom! Similarly to how your animation speed would slow down when infected by a snare, when using a run nano, your animation speed should now speed up, to give you a better sense of the speed you're going at. On top of this, the animation for dashing with certain weapon types has also been improved. The dash animation that is currently being used was intended for use with only melee weapons. However, we found animations that better work for dashing with certain weapon types or in certain interactions. Dashing with a rifle or shattergun on the ground and air, dashing with a pistol on the ground, and then dashing with a rocket in the air. We hope that this helps dashing feel more natural and also convey Dash's utility in combat. This next change may seem controversial, but you'll find that this mechanic is pretty standard among other platformer games. Variable jumping. In the original game, there was no way to control how high your jumps went. Every jump went up a predetermined number of units. This would sometimes make platforming feel floaty, especially when using a jump nano. To make the game feel more snappy when platforming, we have introduced variable jumping to the game. The longer you hold spacebar, the higher you go. Your max height without a jump nano is still the same, and to go at the same height of a normal jump, you just have to hold the spacebar. Along with this, we have increased the gravity of the player when the spacebar isn't being held. This means you'll hit the ground faster, allowing for short hops and less waiting for your player to reach the ground. To prevent fast falling, you simply hold the spacebar, similarly to how you would glide in Academy. This does not mean that you are gliding, just that you're falling at the same speed as you normally would. This should allow you to make tighter jumps across platforms that are closer together while keeping the player grounded so that you may perform more actions. Your jump height with a jump nano will be affected by variable jumping. Even with the shortest jump, you'll be going higher than a regular full jump. To add on to this, there are a few exceptions to variable jumping. Jump pads and the rocket nano power will boost the same exact amount of height regardless of if you hold the spacebar or not, and jumping while in vehicles will stay the same as it is currently in game, as it's appropriate for them to feel floatier. We are aware that this mechanic may not be for everyone, so the option to disable it can be found in the options menu. It, however, will be on by default. We hope that this mechanic opens up a new form of skill expression when navigating the Cartoon Network universe.
Well, what do you know? Did you expect me to pop up again? I'm here to deliver some exciting news about items. As you may have realized, we've been adding a lot of ultra rare grindables to the game in recent updates. For those not in the know, grindables is the term given to special ultra rare items that are exclusively dropped from gold crates. But this isn't really the way we want to be adding most of our new items. For us, it was a great way to give players something to do in between updates, as we knew for a while that time between updates was going to be rather sizable and we wouldn't be ready to add any other new permanent content for players to experience. However, like I mentioned in the beginning, we feel like we're finally ready to shift over to regular permanent content updates, and as such, we're hoping to transition away from adding grindables over to just adding new regular permanent drops to the game. After all, permanent content needs to be accompanied with worthy permanent items. We decided to sit down and figure out some things to make new items way more exciting and unique. Let's start off with effects. You may not realize it, but they're all around you. Every time you use any sort of ranged weapon, in fact. All those projectiles or lasers that come out of your weapons are considered effects by the game. To simplify what weapon effects mean in the context of FusionFall, they're essentially grouped together sets of 3D models and or particles that are set to display when firing a weapon and when hitting an enemy, as well as what the actual projectile looks like. You may remember that a long time ago we released an update that added a new purple laser projectile into the game. But in reality, this was just a recolor of an existing bullet effect and was added quite jankily compared to our current tech and capabilities. Well, we decided that with the long-awaited introduction of a non-guide-locked ultra-rare level 36 pistol, that it was only proper to make it our test drive of entirely new weapon effects made from scratch. The musket from codename Kids Next Door will be added to the game next update, utilizing unique effects to represent its mustard-based form of destruction. Using a debug tool to slow down the game, you can see the 3 different types of effects that I was talking about. You may have also seen that we introduced a brand new weapon in our most recent update that uses something that's never been done in FF properly before. A shader not only with the game's tune outline, but with proper rim light and scrolling textures as well. This shader was made by our art director Star and is rather groundbreaking. With this shader, we'll be able to apply awesome rim light and scrolling texture effects to other weapons and items in the future. Now I think the exciting prospects of this speaks for itself, but come on, there's something more to this, isn't there? Something that's been a hope in this community for some time now. Something that not even the original Retro was able to do. Custom shirt, pants, and shoe models are finally able to be added to the game. You may be saying, wait, the Ultimate Cannonbolt set was in the original game. Well, this Ultimate Cannonbolt set actually uses a different model from the one in Academy. This one was done based on the original Cannonbolt set model to rectify the issues with the Ultimate Cannonbolt from the original game. As you can see, not only was the texture improved, but the back now properly features the actual Ultimate Cannonbolt back design from the show. There's also now textures specifically for the girl version of the set, just like how the original Cannonbolt set has girl-specific textures. This previously was an issue in the Academy version as they just used the boy texture, which did not align with the UV of the set for the girls. You can also see how the girl version previously had misaligned UVs on the spikes and bad weight painting, making the spikes look like they were going upward. This should give you an idea of what we can do with this tech in terms of improving meshes from the original game that were poorly made or executed. But what about completely original clothing designs? Well, that's possible too. Let's take a look at some very special hoodies. These wool and blue hoodies were created for Legacy using design created by Agejis, and are now going to be featured in Retrobution. We've gotten the okay from the relevant parties to include these, and we couldn't be happier to finally fulfill a nearly decade-long wait for these items to be real in any sort of FusionFall experience. We have a lot more cooking in terms of brand new player clothing now that it's possible to add, but we'd like to save most of it to show later. We hope you enjoyed this upcoming preview of items and are just as excited as we are at the prospects of brand new effects and brand new clothing models.
Hey everybody, I am Star. I'm the art director, lead modeler, and animator for Retrobution. A part of that is working on NPCs every step of the way, and when you hear that, you kind of associate just with new models, but there's a little bit more to it than that. The original game has its fair share of good models, but there's also times that they don't quite hit the mark, so sometimes a little fine-tuning may be required, but many of them do not fully capture their essence or their artwork. Let's look at DD for example. In Dex Labs Update 2, she will receive a new model and a new texture, courtesy of Legacy. I didn't make this model, however was a part of making it be properly imported into the game. This model was present in FusionFall Retro for a brief amount of time with the original DD's texture before being taken out due to some crashes caused by the game's intro. Now we are able to import it without any issues, which is great. As you can see, the original game's DD ponytails didn't have that volume or shape you would expect by looking at her show design or FusionFall art. The original game's artist also gave her that exact open smile she has on her art, which feels very DD, but we can do better now. You've already seen certain nanos with being able to give changing faces. Well, that's no different from NPCs. This tech is adapted to work with NPCs and nanos using the game's pre-existing systems to changing the player's face during certain emotes. Using this tech, NPCs can finally have a wide range of expressions without having to compromise by having an unmoving smile forever. You can also see this on our brand new number 2. We showed him a little bit off on St. Patrick's Day, but here's a better look at him. He was our first test at this new face-changing tech, and also the first NPC to have 4 idle animations, as opposed to 3. This was already supported by the game, but simply went unused by normal NPCs. This revamp was based on Legacy's number 2, however I did a lot of my own edits to it, and I completely reanimated him. My intent was to display him as more confident and in charge. It's also why he's now in front and center of the treehouse. Based on the original game's character guide documents, number 2 is supposedly supplying the game lead with all the weaponry needed to fight off Fuse, and he's playing an active role at it, and he finds thrilling. These changes to his model and animations should better fit in line with those intentions. But what if he was put in a much more dangerous situation? One where the fight against Fuse is becoming more and more of a bumpy hill battle? Well, future number 2 there is. This is our first unique design for a future version of an NPC. The state of the future has made his piloting skills much more utilized, and he's right as serious trying to keep things afloat at Sector B. This version of number 2 has his own set of unique animations that were based on the regular design, but with a slightly more serious tone to it. We hope that this edition can set a better mood for the future by allowing some characters to be visibly different given the circumstances. As a bonus, in an update after Dex Labs Update 2, you're gonna be able to obtain his jacket as a wearable player item, which is pretty cool. Yes, quite exquisite. I hope that you enjoyed this small peek behind the curtain for NPCs, and I hope you look forward to whatever else is in the store. Now, Kick has something really cool to show. Bye-bye-bye!
Hey everyone, my name's Cake and I'm here to showcase something a bit more exciting this time, vehicles. When a scamper or monkey skyway route doesn't get you quite where you need to be, vehicles are the go-to transport solution. However, mechanically, they aren't very interesting. Really, they're just a flat speed boost with a bit of flair. We're looking to change this with a few new additions and tweaks. Let's start with how you control vehicles. Prior to Dex Labs Upgrade 2, the controls are the same as if you were running on foot. While intuitive, it doesn't really bring a lot to the table. Thus, it's been upgraded. You'll notice that vehicle movement is a lot more intricate now, with acceleration, deceleration, and a pseudo drift mechanic while turning at high speeds. All around, I find it much more fun to use. Vehicles will also be able to go slightly above the rated speed class, at least when going in a straight line. So you can think of the class number as more of an average rather than the maximum. This, along with the aforementioned buffs to vehicle classes, will make them feel a lot speedier. Next is a subtle, but still impactful visual change. You'll notice as I go up this hill, my vehicle actually adjusts to the slope naturally. The same is true for going downhill. We also plan to implement a snapping feature, so going down slopes won't result in you constantly jumping. Both of these additions will give the vehicles some much needed weight. Don't fret though, the jump height and gravity on vehicles is unchanged, so you can still make all the same jumps as before. The last thing to mention is audio. We've added a pitch effect to provide a bit of auditory feedback for when you've ramped up to max speed. Take a listen. I can't wait for everyone to try the new and improved vehicles once they drop in the next update. We are also looking to either improve or replace the rental system, but we don't have anything to show at this time. Regardless, we hope you enjoy it.
Hey guys, Alfie here again. It's been a truly wonderful 4 years with all of you, and on behalf of the Retrobution development team, thank you all so much. Looking back, it is crazy how far we have come since our first milestone update with last year's birthday bash. With each update, we've been able to develop new technologies and refine new methods to innovate on FusionFall. We are all eternally grateful to be in a position where we are able to keep our beloved game and community alive and fresh, and we cannot wait to show you what is in store for all of you to experience. We hope to see you next time.